Hi, my name is Maximiliano Firtman. I'm a mobile web developer. I've been doing vanilla JavaScript projects with backend code for almost 30 years. I created this course because vanilla JavaScript and Go are great languages these days to create web apps that are high performant without any dependency. In this course, we're going to start from scratch with HTML and CSS, adding JavaScript for a single-page application, and finally adding Go backend services that are connected to a Postgres SQL database. Let's build a full-stack application with vanilla JavaScript and Go. So main is actually giving me an error. Why? Because now, when we were trying to initialize the storage, now it's private, so there is no way to do this. So now instead of creating the instance like this, if you want to follow this pattern, if not, you can keep it like it is, we can now call new movie handler. And new movie handler will receive the both options, the log instance and the movie repo, as arguments. It's just the same. Okay, in this case, going through a factory. Does it make sense? So now that we do have the handlers, we have the handler for get genres, for get movie, we have search movies. In this case, you can see this is receiving arguments through the get, so through the URL. So it's getting the query, the order, the genre, and it's passing that to the data repository. Remember, handlers speaks HTTP, so that's why it's speaking URL, speaking JSON, is reading information from the request, sending information back to the writer, to the response writer. And on the other side, the repository is actually speaking models and SQL. That's kind of the idea. And after we have the handlers, we need to register the URLs. So that's actually the last step for our server, at least for the data part, because we still have the account type, the login, authentication for later. But for the movies part, now we need to add the rest of the function, so handle func. So we will have API, movies search. Remember, keep the trailing slash or not, it's up to you, but stay consistent. Movie handler, and we will try to here call search movies. Then we have the one that takes one particular movie. So handle func. And look at this. I will just say movies /. I will explain what that is in a minute. And this is get movie, one movie. And then handle func. Genre, movie handler, get genres. So what's the idea with this? Because it says movies. The idea is that this one is going to be API, movies, and the ID of the movie. Like, for example, 140. I don't need to say anything special here. In this case, this handler will take everything starting with API movies. What about search, random, and top? Because they were defined before, they will handle the HTTP request before this one. So that means the order is important. If I do this, top, random, and search will never work. You understand why? The order is important. Now, if we try this, we have the top movies, random movies. We can request one movie, for example, this one, 542, and it's giving me that movie. And also we can request things like genres. Genres will give us the array. Okay, and search. Search is more complicated because there are more things here, but we can try to search and search by, for example, Mad Max. Now it's giving me only Mad Max movies. Mad Max Fury Road, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and so on. And the original one. So if I want to change the order or change the genre, I need to do something. By the way, the genre is dynamic, so I need to actually call an API to fill that select. Okay, so we need to do that part, and I will do that probably manually to explain some things that maybe they are new to you. So I will go to, in this case, movies page, and at some point in our connected callback, I should call a function that I'm going to create, load genre. Genres. Okay, and because I will need to go to the network, I will make it async because I know then I will probably need to go to the network. And I will first call the API. So await API dot get genres. If I don't have it, I need to create it. I think I don't have it, so let's check if I'm getting into the API. Yep, I don't have it, so I will just clone any of this, get genres, and it was just genres. As far as I remember, let's try this. So if I open localhost 8080 API genres, I'm getting them. Okay, so this is the URL that I want to execute. Remember, that's go to the backend goes to the handler goes to a data repository goes to a database, makes a SQL query, and all the information is traveling back to our JavaScript code. So back here, then I have the API. Yeah, it's fine. So let's go back here. And now that we have them, I will get the select. The select is just the selector in HTML. So from my own HTML, I will just find the select with the ID filter, like so. And I will start, this is kind of weird, but this is how it works. I'm going to create one first option that will mimic what we have right now, like it says filter by genre, because by default, there is no way to select like a title. So you need to create one option with that. Okay, and then we're going to loop through all of this. And for each, we're going to create an option. It's an option tag. So we're going to create an element of type option. That's a tag name. We're going to set its value. Its value is important. I can use the ID because that's the argument, the value that we will send to the server to filter by genre. And then the text content is going to be the name. Now, dot name, like that. And I'm going to append that to this. Now, I can see all the genres appearing there. So that works. Then, of course, nothing happens when I click here, or it's trying to do something, but it's not yet implemented. Okay. And the same happens when you change sort. You can see it's actually calling two functions, search filter change and search order change on app, that they're not there. Okay, that they will just change the URL with other arguments. And in that case, it will make another request to the server with the right arguments, and we'll go to the web service, the data, the database, and the list of movies will flow back. Okay. So in that case, on the README on F3, we already have those two functions. They're not like so complicated, but let's just copy and paste them within app.js. So these are other new functions for app.js, like this. So search order change will actually get the parameters, the other two parameters, the genre and the query, and will create the new URL. And filter is getting the order. So in case you are filtering and ordering at the same time, okay, it's doing this. And sending the rest of the arguments. Okay, so those arguments are going to the same /movies route. So it will actually make a new navigation to the same page. Even if it's the same page, it will be a new instance of the page. And this page, if you look at the code, movies page, it's actually right now reading those parameters as well. Okay, so we are back to the future. Filter by genre Well, actually, if you say fantasy, yeah, there are no fantasy on Back to the Movie. I guess they probably science fiction, not fantasy. Yep. And also now they are searched by popularity, by, let's say, by a score. It's like, well, the same. Let's see if it's working. Release date, well, it's probably the same. No, because I'm using the reverse order. So Back to the Future 3 is the first one, okay, and by name, well, they have mostly the same name. So, but if you search Batman movies, okay, now we can change the order. It seems to be working. And if I filter by comedy, I only have the Batman from the 60s. Now, in app.js, after a successful login and registration, so here, when we are going to the account, I need to talk with my store. And by the way, how can I access the store? Well, my app should have the router and also a reference to the store that is actually in a separate module. Does it make sense? So, and that store is getting the proxy store automatically because I'm in the outside. So now if I'm registering, I should get app.store now, and app.store will have, for example, the JWT property. And I'm setting that, I'm reading that from the response. Okay, makes sense? And the same happens after login. So if this works, let's see. Let me check if app.js is importing the router. I'm not seeing the import for the store, which actually, this is the one. I can call it the store here. Now we are talking. So I'm importing the store, even if it's called proxy store on the outside, I don't care. I call it the store here. So now it should work. So let's try, let's use Canary. So let's go back to the login screen. So if I try to log in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, login, I'm in. So I don't know if I saved. First, I can check my store from here. It's there. So I have it client side now. And I can check also on application. I have a section for local storage, and I can see it here as well. That means that if I refresh, or if I come back in a month, JWT will be there. Unless I clear my browser cache or whatever, that JWT will be there. So now I have the token saved client side after registration and after login.